Seriously, Sam, what can we give the fans?
What can we give the fans?
Yeah.
Some stuff.
Oh,
some
like
commanding,
stuff.
some conquering. You know how we do. You got any questions for me? I'm a busy man.
I certainly do. So, Sam, one of the favorite things for fans about Command and Conquer is obviously the story. So, people are, of course, asking, where is the story headed? Never thought I would see Kane, yes, Kane, going to GDI with a proposition. What is that all about?
Well, really, what's happening with Command & Conquer 4 is that humanity has fallen on desperate times. Tiberium's out of control, our weak defenses against it are being overwhelmed, and for all intents and purposes, we're on the brink of extinction. And right then, right when we're at our worst, when we're going to die, Kane reappears, as he tends to do, and he comes to GDI with a proposition. He's like, you want to save the world? I got a plan. But you need to get with me to do that. We can't fight each other. We can't be at war. We have to work together to do this.
On the tech side of things, many fans are speculating about this new concept for Command & Conquer, like a new approach to base building, basically. Mm-hmm. So can you expand on what you said at GameSpot about this whole streamlining of the base building?
Well, yeah, we were looking to sort of streamline the base building experience, because what we find with a lot of our games is that after it's been out for a couple weeks, there is a perfect order to build your base in. And if you don't build your base in that order, you lose. And that becomes kind of a not-so-fun experience for our less hardcore players. So what we wanted to do was have all of the things that you do in base building, building tech buildings, building production structures. We wanted to roll that all into this crawler mechanic, which is a big sort of mobile robot base. You can build while you're moving, you deploy, the units come out, you buy your upgrades there, you buy your tech there, you build your units.
This is like a mobile coneyard of sorts?
Yes, it is. It's very much a mobile coneyard.
A lot of people have been playing C&C for a long time. What do you think this is going to do for the veterans of C&C? Are they going to be able to adapt? Is this going to be something that's of interest to them?
Well, we're hoping they can adapt, because a lot of the core of what makes C&C is still there. You still got tanks, you still got powers, you still got your iron cannon. You got all that stuff that you use. You build large groups of tanks, you go out, you kill the other guy's tanks, you insult his sexuality on the internet. You know, the usual C&C thing. But what we've streamlined some of the elements, what we've tried to do is, as I said, put back in other elements and really create, we've got this more of this class-based system, so you really have a variety of tactics that previously weren't accessible. You can really play defensively without just turtling up in your base. You can play support and help out the other players without just sort of hanging back and casting spells or casting powers.
So this is still RTS, right?
Damn right.
Okay, but I heard this crazy rumor going out there that we're talking about player progression that can affect the player in multiple modes of gameplay. What's going on with this? I mean, how is this adding to the already compelling C&C experience?
I have no idea what you're talking about. No, really. So, the progression thing is something we've really brought to the table here. It's something very new, very different for RTS play. And the idea was, usually when you boot up an RTS game, you start playing skirmish or multiplayer or single player, you have like 15 different units, you have like 50 powers, not spells, upgrades, all that kind of stuff. So what we thought we'd do is, rather than just throwing a ton of stuff at you at once, we'd make more stuff, not less stuff. So we have tons of stuff. This game has more units and powers and upgrades than we've ever done before. But rather than having you start out with all of them, we have you start out with a good complement of basic stuff if you want to go online and kick ass. And every time you play, single player, multiplayer, skirmish, whatever, you earn experience. Experience goes towards leveling you up at the end of a match. Leveling you up allows you to purchase new units, new upgrades, new powers, new things that give you more options when you play. So, you can still go out and build tons of tanks and flood your enemy's base, but suddenly you have a variety of ways. You've got access to stealth stuff. You have different powers you can use. You can borrow. You can do all kinds of things. But rather than hitting you with that all at the beginning, we want you to earn it. We want you to sort of trickle it down. So by, 5-10 hours into the game, you've got a really personalized, customized army. You can take online and fight someone with completely different stuff and have a very unique experience.
So let's say you're an amazing player like myself, and you're somewhat humble, and you don't want to necessarily venture out in the online world and make people feel bad. You could play skirmish and kind of build yourself up?
Exactly. Everything's persistent across the game. So if you earn it in multiplayer, you can use it in single player. You earn it in co-op, you can use it in skirmish. It's all persistent across the game. So rather than having a sort of designer-scripted trickle of units throughout the campaign, it's what you earn. That's what you use, that's what you play with. And you can really steer it towards supporting your style of play.
What does any of that have to do with me?
Well, one of the things you can earn is a commemorative Joe Coogan gold statue.
Can you just touch a little bit on upgrades for this game?
Yeah, well, we've got, it's a Command and Conquer game. There are always the upgrades. They turn your flames blue or give you some kind of Tiberium thing on the back that makes you more scary. But yeah, we have a ton of upgrades. That was one of the things we really dug down on, especially if you're playing our offensive class, which is primarily based around tanks and rude language. And so the goal is you
like
buy
I
your
found my
tanks.
place in the world, finally. I know where I'm going in the game.
You're an offense class player, I could see that. So you can really work out how you want to spend your experience points to make it the faction that you want to play. Me, I'm not that fast an RTS player. I'm not one of those 120 click a minute kind of guys. I'm more like 3. And I don't actually know what a keyboard is, so I can't use hotkeys. But it means I tend to play a defensive class, and I buy the upgrades that make my units more devastating, more powerful. And
is this a pattern for you?
Yes, I am a very, very insecure person. And so I cry myself to sleep every night.
Oh, Sam.
But I need a hug. But so what I do is I try and buy the upgrades that support me not being faster, because I can't handle faster, I'll just freak out. Instead, they let me do more damage, or they let me be more accurate, or they let me bring some different tactics to the battlefield. Maybe I use stealth, or maybe I construct bunkers and buy upgrades for the bunkers. There's a lot of different things you can do, so it's really all about customization.
Any other secrets that you like to divulge while you're still here?
We're delving pretty deep into the lore. We are. When I'm not designing games, I'm also the lore master for the C&C universe. Which is such a silly job title. But, when I put on my crown and I have my scepter of lore mastery, I delve deep into the canon, and we've been looking for a lot of things that sort of, with C&C3, we maybe didn't touch on as much as we should have, that in the interest of telling a sort of coherent story, we stayed back from. But now with C&C4, we figured people are pretty familiar with our universe, we can delve in a little deeper. We've got some really serious answers about who Kane is and what he's doing here.
Heart percentage, of all the unanswered questions so far in the game, what's the percentage of questions you're actually going to answer now in this final installment?
I'd say, based on our current metrics, 42.5. So there'll still be some mystery out there.
Sure.
One of the things
Less than half, though? That seems daring.
Well, you know what? Our fan community is not vocal in any way. They're very calm, quiet people, so I'm sure they'll be fine. We're trying to answer a lot of the questions. We don't want to end with yet another sort of ambiguous fade to white as you raise an eyebrow at the camera. We wanted to end with an ambiguous fade to white followed by a list of text that explains everything about what went on. So that's sort of what we'll be doing. That's not true at all, please.
Well, Sam, I want you guys to be late for your couples counseling session, so I'd like to thank you. It's always a pleasure having you here with us.
Always a pleasure.